Ron Kelly sits in his favorite recliner at the foot of the stairs, a 9mm pistol resting in his hand. He had returned home early from a business trip, eager to surprise his wife, Irene, with a vacation to Hawaii. Instead, he finds men's and women's clothes strewn across the floor, leading up the stairs to the master bedroom. The scene is chaotic, a clear sign of passion and haste. Ron's heart pounds as he processes the betrayal. He calls his law partner, Dave Harrington, to inform him he'll need bail later that night. Dave warns him not to kill anyone, and Ron laughs darkly, promising to try. As he waits, Ron searches the living room, finding Jeffrey Connor's wallet and phone. He calls Jeffrey's wife, Sarah, and reveals the affair, hinting at the confrontation to come. The tension builds as Ron prepares for the inevitable clash. Ron methodically searches the living room, finding Jeffrey's pants, wallet, and phone. He flips through the wallet, discovering photos of Jeffrey's wife and children. The sight fills him with a mix of rage and pity. He picks up Jeffrey's phone and calls Sarah Connor. It's nearly 1 a.m., and Sarah answers, furious at Jeffrey for missing their daughter's birthday. Ron calmly introduces himself and reveals that Jeffrey is busy with Irene. Sarah's anger turns to shock as Ron explains the situation. He assures her that Jeffrey will likely need medical attention soon and promises to keep her updated. The call ends and Ron sits back, waiting for Irene and Jeffrey to descend the stairs. His mind races with thoughts of betrayal and revenge, but he remains eerily calm, focused on the confrontation ahead. Irene and Jeffrey descend the stairs, laughing and wrapped up in their passion. They don't notice Ron until he turns on the lights, revealing himself with the gun pointed at them. Irene screams and Jeffrey freezes, his face pale with fear. Ron remains calm, his voice steady as he addresses them. He mocks Jeffrey for his lack of clothing and thanks him for saving Ron the cost of a new robe. Irene pleads for mercy, but Ron cuts her off, demanding answers. He asks how long the affair has been going on and how many times they've been together. Irene admits to 6 months of infidelity, her voice trembling with guilt. Ron's calm demeanor cracks slightly as he processes the depth of the betrayal. He turns to Jeffrey, warning him of the legal consequences he'll face. The tension in the room is palpable as Ron prepares to take action. Ron's anger boils over as he interrogates Jeffrey, demanding to know if he's been sleeping with other women and whether they used protection. Jeffrey stammers, unable to answer. Ron's voice rises as he accuses Jeffrey of destroying his marriage and potentially exposing Irene to STDs. In a moment of rage, Ron fires a warning shot into the banister, splintering the wood and sending shards flying. Irene screams and Jeffrey collapses in terror, a trickle of urine running down his leg. Ron coldly informs Jeffrey that he's lucky to be alive and that this is just the beginning of his punishment. He calls 911, requesting an ambulance and the police. As he waits, Ron reflects on the life he's lost and the justice he's about to enact. Ron instructs Irene to call Sarah Connor and inform her of the hospital where Jeffrey will be treated. Irene, trembling and tearful, complies. Ron watches her with a mixture of pity and disgust, realizing that their marriage is irreparably broken. He reflects on the 7 years they spent together, the home they built, and the trust they shared. Every memory now feels tainted, every "I love you" a lie. The sound of sirens grows louder as the police and ambulance arrive. Ron surrenders his gun willingly, knowing that the legal battle ahead will be long and brutal. He's taken to the county jail, where he sits in a holding cell, waiting for Dave to arrange his bail. The weight of the night's events settles over him, but he remains resolute, determined to see justice served. Dave Harrington arrives at the jail to bail Ron out. He updates Ron on the situation. Jeffrey has been treated and released. Irene has moved in with her sister, and the prenup will hold. Ron listens quietly, his mind already shifting to the legal strategy ahead. Dave assures him that the firm is ready to support him, and they discuss the next steps. Ron's focus sharpens as he outlines his plan to sue Jeffrey and Meridian Corporation for fostering a hostile work environment. Dave agrees, impressed by Ron's determination. As they leave the jail, Ron feels a sense of purpose. The betrayal has shattered his world, but is ready to fight back. Ron and Dave strategize at Ron's home. Reviewing the evidence against Jeffrey and Meridian Corporation. Dave reveals that Jeffrey has a history of sexual harassment complaints, all settled quietly by the company. Sarah Connor has agreed to testify, providing names, dates, and text messages that will strengthen their case. Ron's legal mind kicks into high gear as he outlines the lawsuit, targeting both Jeffrey and the company for negligence and enabling his behavior. Dave suggests demanding a substantial settlement, and Ron agrees, determined to make them pay. The conversation shifts to Irene, who has hired Sandra Lowell, a respected divorce attorney. Ron is confident the prenup will hold, but he prepares for a fight nonetheless. As they wrap up, Ron feels a glimmer of hope. The road ahead will be difficult, but is ready. Ron and Dave confront Richard Tanner, CEO of Meridian Corporation, in his office. They present the evidence against Jeffrey, including testimony from multiple women, and details of the company's cover-ups. Tanner's initial smile fades as he realizes the severity of the situation. Ron demands accountability and a substantial settlement, threatening to make the case public if they refuse. Tanner hesitates, but Ron's confidence is unshakable. He outlines the terms, including Jeffrey's termination and a 7-figure payout. Tanner reluctantly agrees, knowing the company's reputation is at stake. As they leave, Ron feels a sense of victory, but it's tempered by the knowledge that no amount of money can undo the damage done. Tanner calls Ron to accept the settlement terms, including Jeffrey's termination and a 7-figure payout. Ron listens quietly, his mind already shifting to the next steps. He reflects on the victory but feels no satisfaction. The betrayal has left a permanent scar, and no amount of money can heal it. Dave congratulates him, but Ron remains focused on the future. He knows the legal battle is far from over, but is ready to face it head-on. As he hangs up the phone, Ron feels a sense of closure. The chapter with Jeffrey and Meridian Corporation is closed. But the journey ahead is just beginning. Irene hires Sandra Lowell, a respected divorce attorney, but agrees to Ron's terms without contest. She leaves with only her personal belongings, and Ron begins to rebuild his life. The house feels empty without her, but Ron finds solace in his work. He throws himself into his cases, using his pain to fuel his determination. The legal battle with Jeffrey and Meridian Corporation has taken a toll, but Ron emerges stronger and more focused. He reflects on the lessons learned and the strength is gained. The road ahead is uncertain, but Ron is ready to face it.